Hey, everybody, welcome to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. I'm Mike Catalana. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Dan Fates, Jenna Cottrell, and I really appreciate your support of this Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. We've got plenty of content on there, so make sure you check it out. The latest from the Bills after Friday's practice as they get set for the Colts. Let's talk about the defense first. Tremaine Edmonds, with that hamstring listed as questionable, so I guess we won't know for sure until Sunday, likely that 11:30 designation, an hour and a half before the game when they announce who's active and inactive. Matt Milano was wearing the red non-contact jersey with that shoulder. I think they're just protecting him a little bit. It's a different kind of week of practice because they've got a game coming up next Thursday. It looks good for Milano to play. Star Latulippe is not going to play. I mean, he's in the COVID protocol. Harrison Phillips sort of let that out in the interview. So I think my guess is the Colts were sort of assuming that anyhow. I mean, Star's tested positive and he's in the protocol and he hasn't been on the practice field. So that's a loss for this team coming into the game against the Colts. What are the Colts, right? I said this week, I think they're the kind of team Bills fans would really like if they didn't have this current Bills team. I think they're well coached. I think they play hard. They can run the ball very effectively. The quarterback's a little wacky, but he's talented. And they get Frank Reich. I say they're well coached. But in terms of that running back, Jonathan Taylor, I think, is a special player. I think he's the best running back in the league. And I know Derrick Henry's there, and he is a force. But I think Taylor, with that top-end speed, the ability to break tackles, the ability to catch the ball, block, he does everything for this team. And he's only 22 years old. As a matter of fact, instead of me telling you about what I think about him, I'll tell you a little bit more with the help of the Bills.
And it is a handoff to Taylor. Between the tackles, has room. There he goes. Taylor down the sideline.
The Bills know what they're facing Sunday in the Colts, Jonathan Taylor.
One of the best backs in the league. He can do it all.
And by do it all, they mean
he's got size, power, vision, balance, home run speed. You don't always it's hard to find that all those traits in one back.
Taylor averages nearly 6 yards every time he carries the ball. Oh, and they use him in the pass game too.
He can catch the ball at the backfield. It's a huge weapon for him, and he definitely stands out on tape.
Taylor's just 22 years old, drafted in round 2 in 2020, before the Bills had a pick, in case you were wondering. And the Bills already played the Titans' Derrick Henry, but this guy...
Probably the hardest runner we've seen all season. Breaks a lot of tackles. He's going to be a task we're going to have to play well.
And he has the best offensive line in the league to go with it. It'll be a challenge. Yeah, that offensive line is good too. And you guys know what happened last year in the playoff game in January. Actually, the Bills did a pretty decent job on Taylor. Phillip Rivers was moving the ball around. The Colts stayed in it the whole way. Gabe Davis had a big day for the Bills on offense. It wasn't a great performance by the offense. I think of all the games Josh Allen played in the postseason, I think it was his best. They had to hold on to win that game. Frank Reich made some interesting decisions, going for 2, skipping the field goal, going for a touchdown. That's the way he coaches. And this team is, they're 5-5. On the negative side for that 5-5, they've yet to beat a team with a winning record. They've yet to beat a team that made the playoffs a year ago. So they're looking for the payback on the Bills, a team with a winning record, a team that made the playoffs last year. So they've got a lot of motivation that way. All teams are motivated. The Bills are motivated to stay ahead of New England. So that part I'm not as concerned about. I think the Bills will be ready to play. But I was thinking about the injuries. Cole Beasley was limited in practice. He's got those ribs. He's going to play. But the combination of the injuries, guys like Milano, guys like Beasley, who are, limited, and then you've got the COVID situation. I don't remember the Bills being this compromised with players at any point over the last, I'd say, year and a half. Really hasn't been. They've been very fortunate with injuries. The COVID thing has had moments, but nothing all that substantial. That's pretty substantial this week. You're losing your right tackle, and you're losing a run-stuffing defensive lineman. It's why you brought him in here. It's why he's on the roster, and Starr's not going to be there in a game when you really could use him. So combine that with Beasley not 100%. I think it makes it a really interesting matchup with the Colts. And the Colts are a physical football team. And the Bills are the combination, as I just said, the injuries and the COVID and the fact that you have a game again coming up on Thursday. And that's a tough stretch for any team, let alone a team that's a little beaten up. So, my guess is we'll see how it is with Edmonds. A.J. Klein has played well when he's been in there, especially if Milano's good to go. I could see them, not that they don't need him against the Colts, but they don't want to lose him for multiple weeks. Now, I'll look at it this way and say, you guys know it's more important to beat the Colts than it is to beat the Saints. It's an NFC team against an AFC team. It's a difference. They'll say all games are not the same. Division games first, conference games second, and then non-conference games after that. That's the way it works because it matters with tiebreakers, and tiebreakers are going to be important for this year. So I'm not saying that they'll hold Edmonds out. I'm saying if he's not ready and they have him for Thursday, they have him for Thursday. If they think he can go, he's going to play because this game is big for them. So we'll see how it is. The hamstring, you worry about that, but we'll see how it is. And like I said, I don't think the Colts are a great team, but I think the Bills have to play well, very well to beat them. And I think Indy is starting to feel better about themselves. And Frank Reich said it. Why not us? That's his message to his team. Why not the Colts? Starting out 0-3, 1-4, now 5-5, and going into Buffalo. It's been a long time since Frank played here. Okay. I was covering the team then too. But he still has a connection with Buffalo. Tried to get the job twice. Didn't get the job. Once was Rex, the other time McDermott. And he lost to him in the playoffs. Not that he isn't always motivated, but come on. They know this is a big game in the conference and a big game for them too. So, and New England is right behind them, and they're there. And this is a game you cannot lose if you're the Bills, because number one, you'd fall behind New England. You got to go right back and play on Thursday. And then you got the Patriots coming in the week from the next Monday. So it's a lot with this group. A little bit about the Patriots. They're good. They're very solid, well coached, like you would expect. I said something on Twitter. This kid's pretty good, Mac Jones. And I had Bills fans come after me like, he's throwing short passes. It's quick decisions. The guy's a rookie. He's a rookie. Rookies don't make good decisions. They usually make terrible ones. He's not perfect. He's not great. He's not Josh Allen. I'm not saying he's any of those things. I'm saying he's better than Cam Newton. He's better than Brian Hoyer or whoever else they might have thrown out there. He's better than Jared Stidham. And he runs the offense they want to run. And they can run the ball. They're physical. So when you see the Colts playing that way, Patriots want to play the same way. You look at a lot. They line up in 13 personnel with the extra tight ends. They line up with a fullback. They're playing like it's the 90s, okay? And Mac Jones, I had somebody say to me, well, he's just throwing to the guy the play's called for. Yes, there are routes. There are number 1 reads, 2 reads, and 3 reads. Every play, believe me, if all a guy could do is go to his number 1 read, they would take that away every time. Most rookies or young quarterbacks get frazzled, and they have a tough time coming off that first read, Baker Mayfield. That kind of player. So you watch the guy, and he's pretty smooth, and he goes through his progressions. Now, look, he's not a great athlete. He doesn't have a great arm. I think there's a limit to how well Mac Jones can play, but he's good, and he's effective for them. And he's effective in large part because they're well coached. They have a really good defense, and they have enough on offense to make it work in this style. Now, you go up 17-0 on them. Yeah, I want to see Mac Jones come back from that. I don't see that in their offense. But when they get to the Patriots, I think it's going to be interesting. And I think we'll get a little taste of that with the Colts. And I've said it all week. Carson Wentz is not Mac Jones. He's more talented, big arm, can move around. But he will do dumb stuff. And he'll do something wacky Wentz on Sunday. You know it's going to happen. It's the way he is. Frank Reich is trying to get that out of him. When Wentz was young in Philly, he made some unreal plays, and he had very few bad plays in that 2017 season. He was really good. and he was spectacular at times, and he can move and he can run. And he hurt the knee. Oh, what's the team do? They win the Super Bowl without him, and he kept trying to prove he was still the same guy. Physically, I don't know if he's come all the way back from the knee, but he can still move. He's still tough. The fact that the guy has injuries doesn't mean he's not tough. He'll hang in there. He's gotten better at that than he was last year when he was just a dumpster fire in Philly. But he'll make mistakes. He also can make throws. He can make just about every one of them. He's got a great arm, and he's effective in the passing game. So this game is going to be really interesting to see. You saw the story about what, Jonathan Taylor, spectacular back. Like I said, I think he's the best in the league. They have enough on offense. And defensively, they got a guy like Darius Leonard, who's just, to me, one of the great players in the league. I think you got to get a helmet on him right away. I mean, I know the Bills went with, blocking back and went with extra offensive line or tight end help in the game against the Jets, and they steamrolled them. Can they do that against the Colts? I think they may try a little bit. I think you're going to see the Bills in some 13 personnel and going even with the fullback in order to Reggie Gillum, fullback, blocking back, in order to spring the running backs a little bit. We saw a little bit of that, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Matt Breida. Was that a one-week thing? Do they get him? He didn't have that many snaps, but he was effective when he was out there. So I think this is a huge game for the Bills. Like I said, they're compromised health-wise and injury-wise. They've got a quick schedule, turn around to the next one, and this is a big game in the conference. So let's see what happens. I picked the Bills to win it 27-20. I think it's a close game all the way through. They need a win like this against the team they know is good and to go ahead and beat them. It's been a strange schedule lately. Either, teams like the Titans or the Chiefs or the bottom of the barrel, and they had that one loss to Jacksonville. This is a really good, solid, well-coached team. I think the Bills are that and a step above, and they should prove that, injuries or not, coming up on Sunday. Remember, we have complete coverage here. And I also wanted to remind you, if you've been watching all the way through, we'll be down in New Orleans with the Bills when they take on the Saints. We will have a Buffalo Plus live show Wednesday night at 6:45 from New Orleans. Dan Fates and I will be down there. And again, on Thanksgiving night from inside the Superdome, I believe it's the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. They're not giving me a car for that. But anyhow, we'll be there to do it again on Thursday. So you get all filled up with turkey, getting ready for the Bills. Just put us on the Buffalo Plus channel live from 6:45. We'll give you all the updates on the game as they get set for a Thursday night game down in Louisiana. So that'll do it for me, for our team, Dan Fates and Jenna Cottrell. I'm Mike Catalana. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. And thanks for watching Buffalo Plus.